And now let's look at the new map of comprehensive youth ministry. Now everything that I'm telling you comes from Renewing the Vision. I'm not inventing something new. This is something that is from 1997, which the bishops put together saying, we would like to see youth ministry in this. In other words, this is the vision of the United States Catholic bishops of what youth ministry should be like. Okay? So nothing new. But as we looked earlier at the old maps, now let's look at a new way of ministry, which really brings all of them, in a sense, together to a certain point. Okay? To have a new map, the first thing is that you need is to have a link between parish life and the young people. Whatever's going on in the parish life, the young people have to be involved in it. So it's a link between both of them. Okay? That's one part of the new map. The second one, everyone is responsible. Not just those 2 or 3 lone rangers out there that are trying to do youth ministry, but everyone in the parish is responsible. Remember, it takes a community to raise a child, so everyone is responsible, from the young person to the oldest member of the Catholic Church that you have in your parish. They're also responsible. So our job is to figure out, how do we bring them together? Or how can they serve in youth ministry? And those ideas we'll share at the end of the program, because we need everyone to make comprehensive youth ministry a great program. Next, parish life is a curriculum. We cannot have whatever's going on in the parish. If it's during Lent, we cannot have the youth group or the ministry of youth ministry talking about something else. Maybe they're talking about something dealing with Advent. No, whatever is going on in the parish, that's what's going on also in youth ministry. Try to put it as close together as you can. Okay? It's a curriculum. Third, youth ministry, comprehensive youth ministry is about having youth groupings. Not just one group that meets on Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30 or 7 to 9 or whatever the case might be. The more groups we have, the better it is. It's harder, but the better it is. Because remember, it's not about my youth. It's the youth of the parish. And that gives the young people, if there are more groupings, that gives the young people more chances to attend something so they can grow in the Lord, to become disciples of the Lord Jesus Christ. Okay? So it's not about you. It's about the youth of the parish. Okay? Now, target all young people. When I say target all young people, or when the bishops are saying target all young people, what is all young people to you? Is it those that are coming to the youth group? Is that your group? Or all young people means those in the Catholic that come to the parish, to the 11 o'clock Mass, but not the 9 o'clock Mass. Or all young people means all those teenagers that are registered in the Catholic Church in your little town or city. Are those all your young people? Or maybe all young people means, let's think about it, your town or your area. Now, if you're living in a town where there's only one Catholic church, that means that all young people are all those teens are in that high school, middle school, from 7 to 12. Those are all young people. That means target all those people. Not just the Catholics, the Methodists, the Baptists, it's all of them. Because whether we think so or not, they're all supposed to be Catholics, they just don't know it yet. Okay? So we target all young people. Okay? In comprehensive ministry, it's for everybody. Now, with that in mind, we're going to go into the goals of youth ministry. Okay? Because we have to have a few goals. And with that, let's continue. Goal number 1. To empower young people to live as disciples of Jesus Christ in the world today. Discipleship is the main thing. So to empower young people to live as disciples of Jesus Christ in the world today. To empower them. Not just to teach like I'm doing right now, just giving you information, learn this, learn that. No, to empower them to be disciples. That means think about what Jesus Christ did. He taught them. Yes, he walked with them. He, like the walk to Emmaus, he traveled with them. But at one point, he said, okay, now go and make disciples. Go. And that's what we're supposed to be doing to our young people, to empower them to say, okay, now you go. Because if not, they're going to become young adults, and they're looking for a place so they can grow, so they can hear about Jesus. But they never go, because we never tell them the goal number one. We never empower them to do it. We never empower them to share their testimony. We never empower them to give a talk on faith, or love, on joy, or on whatever topic that deals with being empowered to do something. We never empower them to take charge of the technology of the church. We never empower them to use the gift, God-given gifts for them to serve in the church to the fullness of what they're supposed to be doing. Everything that we do in the church has to be focused on evangelization and discipleship. We make disciples to evangelize so they can make other disciples so they can evangelize. It's just a loop that goes round and round and round. But they have to be empowered. Now we need to adapt to different approaches that will impact the faith of those young people. We have to think about it. At one point, there was no way that we could do what we're doing right now. And now we can. There's no way that at one point that we can have meetings where everybody's at home through one of those platforms, either Zoom or GoToMeetings.com or whatever, and literally reach out to them. At one point, there was no way that we could do what we do now. But there are new approaches. You always have to be ready to look for new ways or approaches to bring the faith to the young people. And believe me, you ask them, and then you look around and you open your mind, so you go to trainings and continue going to trainings, new ideas come, and you say, how can I use that for the benefit of the young people, to empower those young people to make this to make disciples? Okay? Goal number 2. To draw young people to responsible participation in the life, mission, and work of the faith community. That's talking about being a youth-friendly parish. Okay? A youth-friendly parish. Okay? Because we're drawing them to be responsible. They're not the new generation that's going to take over the parish. They're there now. And now they're supposed to be helping. Now they're supposed to be involved. Let me ask you, have you ever seen a teenager in the pastoral council or the finance council? Well, maybe it's time that some of those young people end up in that situation, because they're the new people that are going to go to college and one of these 2 years or 3 years from now, and they're right now already learning about finances. Why can that person be part of the finance council? So whenever they come back from college, they already know what to do, how to be part of that, how to bring the church even closer to Christ through the gifts of financing. Does that make sense? Okay. Always drawing them to the community. When you have a youth-friendly parish, it is necessary to inform. Provide good news about the youth. Inform the community about the young people. Hey, we have a senior that is thinking about becoming an accountant. Duh! Wouldn't that person be a good person to work with the secretary and help the accountant at the church office at this time as an assistant? First of all, the young person will grow in their gift that they're called as a career, but at the same time comes to understand the church. It also takes money to run the parish, right? Inform. Pictures on the walls of the young people on what they're doing, how they're active, how they're ministering. Okay? A youth-friendly gives the opportunity to transform, okay, the structure, the policies, and relationships of the church. The young people nowadays are hunger. They're hunger to bring who they are into the church. But sometimes they're not allowed. Why? Because the person that's been doing that for 40 years, that person's about to die anyway, but they've been doing it. And how dare a young person come in and tell them how to do something new? I mean, they still use, you think about musicians or the choir. They're still using the little flappy things to do the music. And the team's like, why are you using that? Why not just look at the notes and your iPad or on the computer or they come up with new ideas. They transform the church to the new era. Show the potential for the youth involvement. Look, the young people can do this, this, and this, and that. Now, I have given you a handout. So look at the handout about Youth-Friendly Parish. Take your time, look at it, and make it happen in your own parish. A youth-friendly parish, young people are valued. Youth are not seen they're seen as a gift instead of a problem. And believe me, the youth are gifted. The young people are gifted. Right now, if you need somebody to do something with technology, you don't get somebody who's 89 years old to do it. You get a young person to do it. Why? Because they're used to technology. Right now, at this time, and this year, right now, there's still older people that don't even have an email. They don't even know how to text. They don't even know how to use a computer. And they're still in charge of the church. They're still very involved in the church. But they have never brought the church to a new level. And the youth are not welcome. Oh, no. We always done it this way. Well, sooner or later you're going to die, like I said earlier. All of you are going to die, except me. Like most of you are going to die. And youth-friendly, intentional intergenerational opportunities, connecting young people with caring adults. A youth-friendly parish connects the young people with those adults. I always think about Elijah and Elisha. One sharing with another, and at the end, one goes home, and the other continues the church at a higher level, at the new era level. Jesus Christ used everything around him to proclaim the gospel, to proclaim who he was. Now we ourselves have to use everything, every possibility, every approach to do the same thing in a youth-friendly parish. Let's continue. A youth-friendly parish with young people welcomes and engages in the life of their broader faith community. They have to be engaged. We have to have opportunities for them to get involved in the parish. Now let me share a little story. I went to this parish and I saw this family. As they were walking in, it was the father, the mother, few teenagers, and the couple of little children. One was barely walking, real cute little thing. The guy that was welcoming the greeter, this is what this person does. He says, "Hi, so-and-so," and I was behind him. "Hi, so-and-so." And either he was a nine or maybe he was involved in the church, but he called him by name. And he called the mother, "Hi, so-and-so, welcome welcome, and it was nice to see you." And then it skips the teenagers and goes down to the babies and says, "Oh, you're so cute." With different wording, but cute. And skips the young people and they walk in. I'm behind them. So I go and tap on the young people. And I said, and I apologized, and I said, "I'm sorry that you were not welcome in this parish." You know what? Let me tell you the response of these young people. It was like this. My body structure, because they got into response. They were like this. Like, it's okay. They're telling me that they were telling me at that moment that they either had to be old to be welcome or a baby, cute baby, to be welcome into that church. But somewhere in the middle, you're not welcome. Is that a youth-friendly parish? You tell me if that's a youth-friendly parish. It takes a team of visionary adults and youth leaders who plan and lead a parish ministry to, with, by, and for youth. Amen? Amen. Okay, now let's go into goal number 3. To foster the total personal and spiritual growth of each young person. Personal and spiritual. Personal and spiritual is the wholeness of the person, which is the comprehensive of the person. Now, we as adults believe that the spiritual part, that's why we have faith formation, that's why we have youth groups, right? Because that's our ministry to teach them about faith. It's always about faith. Now, Let me share a little story. There was a young lady that was coming to one of the trainings here at the diocese. And halfway, she lived, I think she's maybe like 45 minutes away, so 45 miles, 50 miles. Halfway, she has a blowout and calls me and says, Oscar, I'm sorry I'm not going to make it. I just had a blowout and I don't know what to do. And she sounded very scared. Very scared. Because nobody had ever taught her how to change a tire. That's a personal issue. Later on, she got everything fixed and she didn't make it because parents had to go and take care of it. And I mean, it took a while, but we stayed in communication. But let me tell you something. I know a parish that every year, you know how they have blessings of the animals from St. Francis, they have blessings for houses, blessings for cars. Well, this parish, every year, they have a blessing of the cars. Father goes and blesses the keys and the cars of all those young people that had to receive that car. Usually the seniors and such, whatever, even some freshmen. They receive that car for that year, and they all come together. But at the same time, they just don't have the blessing. They have a meal, and then afterwards, there's some, usually the Nights of Columbus, they come and share with all the people, all those teenagers, a bunch of young ladies, share on how to change a tire, how to check the oil in the car, to know the basics of the car. Now, what's so funny is that there's some teenagers that want to show off, and they also want to teach. They also want to share that. At the end, the boys take off a tire and put a new tire on the car. And this is some of them new cars. And they learn, and the girls and some boys are learning how to change the tire, how to check the oil. Basic stuff of a car. That's personal. Is that important? Yes. The fullness of comprehensive ministry. Let me give you another example. In this parish, every so often they have a tamalada, making tamales. Okay? And the Guadalupanas, literally, they make the tamales. But they did something different. Okay? Because I was asking for help. They asked for anybody who wants to learn how to make tamales, that they're welcome to make tamales. And literally, a bunch of people come. And all the teens are invited, and they tell you, this is what you need, and they all come, and they make tamales, and of course they sell them at the church later on. But they all learn how to make tamales. Is that spiritual? No, that's personal. Because I can tell you that nowadays, there's actually young adults going to college, and they don't even know how to make how to cook a bowl of cereal. Okay? Because they've never been in the kitchen. They don't know how to open a can of corn or green beans. Because they've never been in the kitchen. Is that personal? Yes. Is it necessary? Yes. Our job is the fullness of the young person. Now, with that in mind, now we're going to go into other sections of the new map of youth ministry. Okay? To accomplish its goals, 1, 2, and 3, the new map requires us to have everything that we do developmentally appropriate. Okay, that's on page 36 of your handouts. That means if you're having a youth gathering, if you can do it, try to separate the 7th and 8th graders from the high school seniors and so forth and so on. Development appropriately. Every program has to be according to the need of the age of those young people. There's no way that you can teach the Trinity, we're talking about faith formation, to a 7th grade the same way that you teach it to a junior or senior. Sometimes the faith level is the same level, but you still need new ideas, a new approach of bringing that information to them. So understand the development appropriate to the young persons. I know that one time I did this in a parish when I was a youth minister. I've been a youth minister in DRE too. So when I was a DRE, a couple of years, we tried to do this. Literally, we gave them a test at the beginning of the year. like a fun test where they didn't know it was a test, but it was actually a test. And after they finished the whole thing, we literally put them into classrooms, not as grade level, but as faith level. That means, according to the test, we kind of put them where we thought they were at the same level in their faith level. And it worked very well. Now, there were some that were goofing off and found out that they were in the wrong class. Later on, we moved them. So we have several faith levels. The classrooms were called, they were not called classroom as 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. We didn't have those. We had St. Ignatius of Loyola, St. Francis of Assisi, so we named them by saints. So they were classrooms by saints. And we also, at the same time, we have what we call leadership development classroom. That means those were the top teams that scored the highest. That means those teams, they don't need to know the basic information. The first ones were to the point that they didn't even know the Hail Mary. I mean, if you ask, can you recite the Hail Mary? They didn't know it. So we have them at the bottom, okay? So they can learn the basics of faith. But then we had those that were on top. Now, the reason why we get teens bored in classroom, because you have a teenager that doesn't even know the Hail Mary, but they barely know the sign of the cross, and they do this business like this, okay? Or like that they're shooting flies or something. But they don't know how to make it in the sign of the cross. Those young people were at a certain level. And they get bored when you're talking very highly, like people that already know that. I mean, if you're talking to a teenager on how to recite the Hail Mary, those that know that pray the rosary daily, they're like, are you serious? They're going to leave. And vice versa. Okay? So that was one way that we did it. Now, it was hard. It wasn't easy, but it worked. Okay? It worked. Now, so development appropriately. Spiritually and also physically. Because if you have seniors that you need theology of the body for, well, you want the older people. The younger ones, well, they don't need that kind of talks at this moment. Some do, but most don't. Family friendly. Comprehensive ministry also focuses on the family. Think about it. Right now we have single mothers, single dads, children that they're not even living with their mom or dad, they're living with a stepdad and a stepmom. I mean, there's so many ways that the family is situated. Families that both parents are working, families that they're living with grandpa and grandma. So even when you say parents, can you get your parents to sign this? Well, some don't even know who their parents are. They're living with grandma, they're living with, foster parents. I mean, they're living with so many, every family is so different. So think about your programming to be family friendly, okay? That's why Wednesday nights from 6:30 to 7:30, and that's all we have, doesn't work. Why? It's not family friendly. Intergenerational. Youth ministry has to be intergenerational. Every age, remember, all are called to ministry. All people are called to ministry. So, intergenerational. Older people, younger people, so forth and so on. Multicultural. Okay? Think about the different cultures that we have in our parish. Your ministry has to be multicultural. Okay? And in other words, you have to have an intercultural communication way of thinking in order to reach every young person. The more cultures, and here in this diocese, most of our parishes at least speak 2 languages. Okay? The main language is Spanish, English, and actually Vietnamese. So those are the main languages, but we have a lot of cultures in our church. Okay? So think about it. If you walk to my office, you will be, whoever walks into my office will see that I have Our Lady of Guadalupe on there. Why? The Mexican culture. I also have Our Lady of Vietnam. Okay? And the Immaculate Conception. Why? So when you walk in, like, oh, if a Vietnamese person comes into my office, the first thing they're going to be attracted to is like, oh, he has Our Lady of Vietnam. And they feel comfort right there and then. Okay? So your comprehensive ministry is being multicultural, to be diverse into the cultures. Okay? We have to have a community-wide collaboration. That means we work as a team. We use everybody around us. For example, now let me be straightforward. You do not bring somebody that, let's say you're bringing somebody that's not Catholic to come and share something with you because that's their profession. They're coming for a certain thing, not to share the gospel. When we say community-wide collaborations, let me give you an example. It's like asking, especially right now, asking the police to come and share with the young people what they're afraid of. What is it they're afraid of when they when they stop someone for a traffic violation? How do they feel when they go to one of those to a riot or a protest? How do they feel? What's their fear? Because they will see the humanity of the police. Does that make sense? Not to teach about the gospel, but to teach about their calling. Okay? Can we just want the doctors to come in and share about the reproduction, whatever you need. But think about it. It's not to share the gospel, but to use the gifts and talents that they have for the benefit of the young people. Okay? The firemen, can they come and share with the young people about their calling? Because that's their calling. Leadership. Doesn't matter how much you do in ministry, you have to have leadership development. Leadership, you have to be building leadership. Remember the goal? Number one, to empower. When you empower, you're making leaders. Okay? Flexible, adaptable programming. When you just have one meeting, that's not flexible at all. But when the entire church says, as soon as you find out there's a teenager, how come you're not coming to faith formation, or how come you're not coming to youth group? Oh, because the reason why I'm not coming is because of this. Our job is to figure out, how do we take care of that? How do we bring the good news to the young person because of their situation? That's our goal. Conference and ministry looks for those details and says, how can we bring the news, the good news, the gospel, to discipleship and make this person an evangelist for the Catholic Church? Amen? That's the main thing. Now, from here on, we're going to go to the components of comprehensive youth ministry. But I'm not going to give you a definition because you have it. So go ahead and look through those definitions before we continue.